we're all human and we're all going through something, and none of us are perfect. But we also, need to educate ourselves and find help, find resources so that you can start healing and being a better version of yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Raina Carrillo with Purpose and Passion. And today we're going to be having more of a spiritual journey on our podcast. We have Celina Estrada, the life coach from Cereus Bloom. But before we get into this interview, I want you guys to go to Luxe Media on YouTube. I want you to subscribe, comment, and like. It's so important to share your thoughts about our interviews. It's important because you are viewers, and we need to know how you feel about our episodes and just in general what Lux Media is doing. And so, thank you so much, Celina, for just being here on Purpose and Passion in the city of Inglewood at All In Co-working. This is a hidden jewel in Inglewood, and I love it. And this is the whole reason why, like, look at that, Inglewood. We're Inglewood girls.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Actually, I was born and raised in Inglewood.
Yes.
Went to Inglewood High School, and this is where I grew up.
Yes, definitely. So take our viewers down memory lane. Where were your parents from, and obviously you're born and raised in Inglewood, but how was your childhood in elementary and middle school and in high school?
It's funny you ask, because that does go back to the whole reason why I do what I do. Growing up, I grew up with an alcoholic father. My mom was pretty much like a single mom. And, the day she left my dad, I was very happy, actually, because I knew that we wouldn't have that chaos anymore in the household. Unfortunately, she got into another situation where alcoholism was also, a factor. And so growing up, I really do feel I had a good childhood, but there were moments where, I had to see things, and that was not very fun at all. And I think growing up through that, I just remember always thinking to myself, like, this is not the life I want to live.
Yeah.
At a very young age, I don't know what it was. I also had a best friend, and she was from another country. And so I was exposed to a new just way of being.
Yes.
And so that actually really intrigued me, because they watched different TV, they ate different food. And that's what I really think sparked something in my mind, where I said, you know what, I really want to know more about what's out there, And so at a young age, I always thought, okay, I want to travel. I want to see the world. And I thought, okay, I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, I always knew where I needed to go to have what I'm going to have.
Yeah.
And so, throughout elementary, junior high, and high school, I think not until I got to high school is when I really started realizing, I was an angry teen. I was very angry at my parents, angry at my life circumstances, angry at what I had to see. And I just couldn't wait to grow up. I was like, I just want to graduate and get on with my life and work, which is ridiculous, because then you work for the rest of your life. But, and so I just, knew that I had to finish school, and I always did want to go to college, but I never thought, like, it was something
that you had to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And my parents never also instilled in me, like, you need to do this. It was like, oh, cool, you want to go to college? That's great. And so, but I always worked like nonstop. Like, I always liked to be busy. And that's, where I met you. In my senior year, I was doing an internship at Northrop Grumman before school.
Man.
Yeah. And then I would go to high school, and then I'd leave from 1:00. I'd go to Scrock for dental assisting training. And that's where I met Raina. Yay. And then I'd go to work at the mall. And so my schedule was always jam-packed. And I think a lot of that too was because I just didn't want to be home. I just
keep yourself occupied.
And I like to make money and buy myself things too. So that was also an incentive. And and I always, at a young age, I was always about building my resume.
That's good because that wasn't normal for me.
Yeah. And that's why I applied for the Northrop Grumman internship because I'm like, that would look great on my resume.
Yes, aerospace.
Yeah. And actually some students did get hired right out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, at Northrop. They got very lucky. And so I did that. And then once, I got into dental assisting, I really loved it. But I realized in that field, you're not making much money. You don't have any benefits.
Yes.
And my mom had always instilled to me, like, you should get a government job. You'll get benefits, retirement. And so I think about 2 years after being in that field, I applied for a government job and I got hired, and I've been in city government ever since.
Yes.
And I mean, when I look back at the way things happen in life, I feel like I had many different challenges happen, but those all happen for something, like a good reason.
Yes, of course.
So I would say about 3 years into my government job, I was hit by a car because I was a traffic officer. So I was directing traffic.
Oh, my Lord.
And I was hit by a car, and I really felt like my life flashed right before my eyes.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, this car hit, my body. And that's when I decided to go back to school and started working towards my degree. At that time, I had always wanted to travel.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I can't wait till I retire. If I want to travel, I'm going to do it now.
Yes.
And
where you're young and alive and have the energy to.
Yeah. And so luckily I have, some really good friends that also have that in mind. And that's what I always express to the youth. Find friends that also have the same goals and interests.
Yes.
Like find some friends that want to travel too. And so I was lucky enough. And we went to New York and Hawaii. Nice. And that really like ignited a fire in me. And eventually I knew I couldn't do this job anymore because I had post-traumatic stress.
Okay. And how did you get that, from the car accident?
Well, I was directing traffic and I was actually hit by a car. He wouldn't stop. And it was a drunk driver, 70-year-old drunk driver. And so now, when the lights are out or we're directing traffic for a Dodger game or something, I have to go out there and do traffic control. Yes. I couldn't do it. Like my stomach hurt. I felt
of course.
Yeah. And so that's
like reliving it again.
Yeah. Yes. And that's when I finally learned that was post-traumatic stress. I wasn't able to cross the street for a while because I thought I'm going to get hit. I couldn't walk through a parking lot, like at a mall, because I thought, can they see me? Like it was fear. And I never thought I was going to get over that, to tell you the truth. But thank God I did. And then I ended up getting another job where I said, I want to be inside and feel safe.
Yes.
And so, then I said, I want to help people, because at that time I was in enforcement and I'm like, I'm not an enforcer. That's not my personality anymore. When I was younger, I think it fit me because I wasn't that person who liked to say good morning.
Yeah. It's like,
I was still that angry teen going into my 20s.
Yes, of course.
And I showed it, and not until I got in my 30s, I was invited to a women's group.
Nice.
Yeah, a women's workshop. And I think it was $5 to get in. So I thought, $5, that's super cheap.
Yeah, that's amazing. Why not? You can get a Happy Meal back then for that, right?
And that workshop was held by Roxy from Amigas for My Soul.
Yes.
And when I heard people talking about the struggles they were going through, it changed my life. Because I thought I was the only one this whole time going through so much.
Yes.
And so when I heard these women just spilling their beans, I was just like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. I'm also going through that. The only thing is, growing up Latina, your parents, well, mostly my mother, was like, don't tell people your business.
Yes, because people can use it against you. Tell everybody and make you feel bad. You know what I mean?
Like, don't tell anyone. No one needs to know.
They got something to hold on you.
But I think that did me more damage, because here I was thinking I was struggling by myself.
Yeah.
And so when I heard these women speaking, I knew right there and then I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. I said, I need to tell my story, because I don't want any other person to feel like they're alone in their struggles.
Yeah.
And that kind of started like this journey. And then in 2014, we had 3 deaths in the family. And that was when I first went through will remember, going through what was diagnosed as depression and anxiety. And I was also being bullied at work. And so I had all these things coming on top of me.
Yes.
And I didn't know how to handle it anymore.
How did the bullying happen? Was it by a male?
Yes.
I knew it. Like it's just like that intuition. Yeah. So how did that outcome happen?
So I'm actually in the stages of wrapping that up.
So this is very kind of still
This happened in
coming
like
in.
2017, and so that's
It's
how long
still.
it takes. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was very hard because you think I'm an adult. Being bullied as an adult, no. that
Yeah,
can't
it's like we're
happen.
grown.
Yeah,
Right?
and
We're supposed to be people of wisdom. Like when you hit 30 and over, it's supposed to hit wisdom. Like we're at a time where we can communicate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you feel there's an issue, you can just talk to me.
Yeah.
We're adults. Don't have to be catty like high school kind of
Oh, my
stuff.
gosh.
My gosh.
Oh no, that's kind of
Jeez.
like the environment, and it just got to the point where I cried every Sunday because I didn't want to go to work on Monday.
Wow.
I didn't know what it was gonna involve. And that was really tough. Like I just wanted to quit my job so bad.
Yes.
And a few times he, raised his voice. He would yell at me. They would ended up closing the door in the office, and I'd say, "Please don't close the door. Can you leave it open? Like I have nothing to hide." And one day he just came out yelling and said, "Get your stuff and leave." And I said, "Can you stop yelling, please?"
Yeah.
And the thing is this person put so much fear in everyone that no one said anything because no one wanted to be in my position.
Yeah.
He was very vindictive and said many mean things to a lot of people and would belittle people in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is not okay.
No, it's not, because he's going through things in his life and he's taking it out on his staff. He has insecurities about himself and he feels good when he puts somebody down because whatever's happening at home is affecting the work environment.
Yeah.
And
so I didn't realize that, till after. And a part of me said, "Celina, shut up. This is not something you want to get involved." But I also, that part of me that said, "This is not right."
Yeah, that warrior in you. Yeah, like I'm gonna be the first to say something.
And I'm like, this is a city office.
Yes.
This is a city agency. This is not his business.
Nope. He's
and
an employee just like everybody else.
Correct. And so I took it upon myself to be that person, that voice, which of course I
commend you. Hello.
But I'm telling you,
because I know I would have. No, I probably would have fought on P2, P3, or where in the parking structure.
But, I tell you, during that time, I said, "God, this is not the fight I want to fight."
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I constantly was like, "God, this is not the fight I want to fight. I'm not a fighter. I said, I'm weak. I'm not a fighter." And this would not stop. And now I see it as this test that he was like, "No, you are, and I'm going to show you how strong you are."
Yes.
But I didn't want it. It still came to me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So during that time, we had the 3 deaths in the family within a year. The first one was my aunt, which was 40. She died of breast cancer.
Yes.
And seeing the way cancer just took over her body, it was horrible.
Yes.
And then a few weeks later, my niece, she was 21. She was hit by a car. She was crossing the street, and we don't know what happened. If she just didn't see it. And we were there when they took her off life support because she had brain hemorrhage.
Where did she get hit? At like which cross streets?
It was in West LA by the Beverly Center.
Okay.
And then a few months after that, my 17-year-old brother was killed by the California Highway Patrol. He was having a mental health crisis.
On the 105 freeway?
No, this one happened up north.
Okay.
So they live in Hoopa. It's an Indian reservation up north because my stepmother is Hoopa Indian. And he was having a mental health crisis. And, when my stepmother called the cops, she told him, he was in an unstable state of mind, and he ended up crashing at the bottom of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And when the cops came out and asked if he was okay, he attacked the cop.
Yeah, because he's going through mental
Yeah.
situations.
So he had a machete in the back of the car, and he started striking the officer. And so they tased him, but he wouldn't go down. He took off his clothes, and that's when I believe then they shot him, because he was, going after them. And so he had just turned 17, like a few weeks before. And I had just seen him like in August. I did a 15-hour drive, which I didn't want to make at first, because I said, oh my God, 15 hours.
That's a long drive. I would have took an airplane, man.
Sheesh. At that time, it was very difficult to find an airplane to go over there, and it was very expensive. But now they've made it easier. Mm-hmm. So when that happened, I said, thank God I got to spend time with him in August. But I also beat myself up, because on his birthday, I called and he didn't answer. Mm-hmm. And I called again and they didn't answer. And I just left it as that.
Yeah.
And so I always thought, why didn't I keep calling, to have that one last happy birthday or conversation with him. And, through all that, that's where I learned, if there's something you want to say, you got to say it now.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No day is promised. No day is guaranteed.
Right about that.
And just like going back to when I got hit by the car, I said, if there's something you want to do, you got to do it.
Yes.
Because no day is guaranteed there.
Yes.
And you keep putting things off. Well, why not just do it now? Make time to do it now.
Yeah.
And so that's why I see all these life struggles as like lessons. Mm-hmm. And that's how I try to go into life, is like, things are hard, but I'm like, what is this teaching me?
Yeah. You know what? I've learned this in church. So let's say when you're going through a problem that is just so overwhelming, obviously you have to talk to God. That's what they teach us. But there was one saying that just captured me. And it says you have to sit still around all the chaos. Mm-hmm. You have to sit still. So even though you're going through your trials and tribulations, and you feel like you can't do it, you feel sometimes like you just want to end your life, because suicide, or you want to drink your life away, or you want to do drugs to just remove yourself out of that hurt and pain and that feeling. You just sit in the chaos. Mm-hmm. And when you sit in the chaos, you ask God, what is it that you need me to learn from the situation? Can you shed the positivity part of my chaos so I won't miss it? Mm-hmm. Because what happens is, when we think about Jesus, we think about the crucifixion in the church, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know Jesus is, alive, right? Like he came, 3 days, whatever, he resurrected, right? So he's alive. But in the Catholic Church, they continue to show the dead Jesus, even though he has resurrected. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when the person says you sit in your chaos to try to grab things that you need to learn, because we're all walking testimonies. So when when they crucified Jesus for all our sins, right? We have to look at, sometimes in our life, we have to be crucified as well, mm-hmm. in order to help the next person. And even though it feels ugly, sometimes we have to take it for the team, because the team we don't see yet, but the team comes, right? A year after, 5 years later, and then you're speaking, you're doing vision boards. Oh my gosh. You're working with people, and these testimonies are hard for you currently, but in the chaos, you just say, what do I learn from this? And give me the positive parts of it. And then your life will shift and your mind will shift. So then you'll understand, like, I'm going through this temporarily and I'm going to get out of it. But I know it's going to be a hell of a story. Yeah. So when somebody tells me I'm being bullied at work, mm-hmm. The process to help the next person. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is like, going through it, then you see the light, and you see, okay, I needed to go there. But when you're in it, you cannot see that. And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So when everybody is in the mess, you got to sit still during the whole chaos. You have to sit still. You have to sit still and just God, what do you need me to learn in this process? And don't take it personal. You know, it's hard
so
because
true.
people are, especially women, we're very emotional.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember some guy said, man, women are just emotional. I'm like, because you're playing with all these women's feelings and you're thinking and you're having sex with all these women, how you not gonna get some crazy women that are full of emotions? And because they're thinking that you laid with them sexually, that wee is theirs. You know what I mean? You know? So I'm all like, so you're chilling, not worried about it, but then when these women want to attack you and fight you and go crazy over you, it's like, come on now. Yes, we are emotional creatures for sure. You know, so yeah, that people, human beings, but women are definitely emotional creatures.
And I love that. I love that about myself. I am emotional.
And it's okay to be like, you know, it's how you're feeling, and it's okay to share that with people. Like your mom said, don't share it.
Yes.
I can imagine that time because, you know, when we're teenagers and young kids, we could be so cruel and hold it against somebody or make fun of them. Like I remember in high school, one girl shared that she was being molested at home. And one of the girls, they stopped talking and stopped being friends. And out of nowhere, God forgive me, but this is what happened. She was like, that's why you got freaking molested. That's what you get. Dude, my hand went naturally like this. Boom. I slapped the dog shit out of her.
Yeah.
I mean, automatically because I was molested. And for you being a young woman and you know that this was your friend at one time, how dare you say that's what you get?
Oh, yeah, no.
And yeah, the girl was crying because she was so embarrassed, but it was like a natural reflex. I backhand that girl so hard because I took it personal. Because I'm like, I know how it felt to be molested by my step grandfather. It was not something I deserved. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's great that you stood up for your friend as well.
She wasn't even my friend.
Oh, okay.
She was just an acquaintance at school. Yeah. But that's who I was. I couldn't stand bullies.
Yeah.
I still can't stand bullies.
And we need more of those people.
Yeah, sorry.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
But that's who I was. I think I still am a little bit. I just try to be the best version of myself now. Yes.
But yeah, so you know, when this happened, I just saw life differently. I go, oh my God, we feel so strong, you know, on the outer core. But when I saw, you know, going to these funerals, I'm like, we are weak. You know, I'm like, we are frail. And I started feeling fearful of living. And I said, I don't want to be afraid to live. I want to live for them because they were not able to be here. So I need to live my life to the fullest and honor them through that. And how am I going to do that? And so they said some beautiful things about my niece. She used to work at a retirement home. And I thought, that really stuck with me. I thought, what are they going to say at my funeral? What have I done? What have I done to like impact people's lives?
Yeah. And
I realized I'm just living for me. It was all about me. And I go, I didn't want that anymore. I said, I want to make a difference. I want to really like make an impact, you know? And so I started volunteering at different places, calling people. And I wouldn't get calls back and I'd be like, why didn't they call me? And then I had to think, well, this is just not where I'm supposed to be then. You know, this is not meant to be. And the funny thing is, since she worked at a retirement home, I always thought that's where I want to work. I want to be, you know, with, because I have no grandparents around. And I thought, oh, this is how I can, you know,
back.
Fill that void. But I never got a call back. And I thought, that's strange. You know, like that's who I want to work with. Yeah. But it didn't happen. and maybe later on it will. It's just not my time.
Not right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just started doing a lot of volunteer work. And then one day I have a friend who's a life coach and I used to volunteer and help her. And I thought I could totally do that. You know, and I remember leaving feeling excited and looking at all the, you know, youth's faces, like they looked empowered. And I'm like, that looks like fun. So I was looking online one night to see how much the life coaching courses were. And it just happened to be that my cousin had invited me to her church the next day for a women's event. So when I'm there at the women's event, they come up and they start talking about this faith-based life coaching course that they offered. And I looked at my cousin. I said, I was looking at this last night.
And this person is here.
And I knew this, I need to sign up.
Yeah.
I go, this is for me. there was no doubt I knew I had to do this.
Yeah.
And also during that time too, I remember being in the shower and just feeling like I hit my all-time low, and I just cried out to God, and because I had went away from the church for many
Yeah.
years.
It happens. We backstep sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't like.
But God loves what's the word for it? A backslider.
I don't like to feel like I was being scolded, and that's how I was feeling. And I was just like, I'm a good person. Why am I being scolded?
Yeah.
And so I went away, and I remember that day I cried in the shower and I said, God, this hurts too much. All of this hurts too much.
Yeah.
I need you to show me where you need me.
Yeah.
I left it in his hand, and I surrendered. I love that
Yes.
Hillsong, I surrendered. And that's when like things just started transforming, and
because you surrendered.
Oh,
You opened that spiritual portal for him to work in you.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I never could have imagined this journey.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm always vocal about like my story, because I'm like, if I can inspire someone who feels like they're stuck, like you got to keep working and asking, and believe in faith or whatever you believe in to really guide you, because you can't do it alone.
Talking about you can't do it alone. May 25th, here at this location, we are having a mindset coach, and he's awesome. He has a powerful story. He's been shot twice and died both times and came back.
Oh my gosh.
And he teaches us the mindset of shifting and spirituality and everything. And I'll share share the flyer with you, but I would love for you to join us.
Yes.
And get your ticket, and we'll be experiencing some things together. And I think this is perfect timing, because you're here today. The event is May 25th. And I think for both of us, just to know, like, we've known each other since high school, and we're women now. And I believe, like, I would like to share that spiritual moment and that mindset workshop with you. Like you being present, you know what I mean? So we can learn a lot from each other and our stories, know. And so how did you get into life coaching and doing the vision boards?
So throughout the course, we focused on who was our like target audience. And that's when I really realized it was going to be youth, because I'm like, I really want to be the person I needed when I was younger. And I remember when I was in high school, and I'm like, if I would have had so much information, I could have been a different person. And so I'm like, well, this is the journey I had to take, so I'm going to be that person I needed. And so I'm like, I want to do life skills workshops. I want to do just different stuff that I didn't have disposable to me. Maybe it wasn't around then, I don't know, but maybe I'm like, now that I know that, I need to share it. And preferably, I wanted to target the youth and where I grew up. And where I lived at that time. I was living in South Central. And so I was like, these are the kids, these are the demographics that I know what they're going through. I can relate to the family, makeup and stuff, the struggles. And I'm like, these are the ones that I want to target. And so I started reaching. Actually, my first opportunity was at a church. And I said, can I do a faith-based life coaching? We'll do vision boards, we'll do, all this stuff. And they're like, actually, we were just talking about that we were looking for teachers. And I'm like, well, I'm here.
St. John's needed for sure.
I'm like, God
in
called me.
Inglewood.
And so there was like 100 students, and I did, we did, vision boards, faith-based, and chose scripture as something to guide us through the year. And then I just happened to be called to give a speech on forgiveness, which was huge.
Nice.
Because that was something I had struggled with for years, and not until my mid-30s is when I finally forgave my parents and everything I went through. I was holding on to it. And I realized, man, if I would have let go of this in my, early 20s, I would have been way better off. And so I'm like,
sometimes we block our blessings with not forgiving. That's the truth, because I know that from experience. Like, man, I should have forgave this person a long time ago. It's not for him, it's for me, or things of that nature. It's like, man, I blocked so many blessings.
And so and I did an activity where I'm telling them to hold their fists tight and, just keep them tight. And at the end, I'm like, who let it go? Who let their hands go because it hurt, started feeling uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Well, do the same thing when you have that pain here.
Yes.
But no, our ego gets to us and we're like, no, I'm not going to let go. I'm still going to be mad at them for doing that. And no. And so I'm like, as easy as you let it go because it hurts, that's what we need to do with those pains, is to just let it go. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean they're right.
You don't forget it.
Yeah. It just means you cannot carry that anymore.
Yes.
And so, so I knew that I wanted to target youth. So I knew I had to make a business out of it. So I filed my EIN, started a business because my target was to go into schools. I really wanted to focus on like after school programs, working with nonprofits. Because prior to that, I went into grant writing because I thought maybe this is what it looks like to help.
I need a grant writer.
Maybe this is what it looks like to help community. And while I was doing that, I'm like, no, I need more like contact. And so, just doors started opening, and I volunteered a lot of my time because I was also kind of like seeing if this was going to work.
Yes, of course.
I was testing all my curriculum ideas. And it just started flowing. Yeah. I said, I want to do this. And I'm telling you, I would just start writing. And I just was like, where is this coming from?
Yes.
But the passion, I was just like, and that's when I realized when people say, from pain to passion or living in your purpose, like I didn't know what people
meant. Like purpose and passion here.
Yeah, I didn't know what people meant. Not until I was in it. I'm like, oh, this is it,
Yes.
And that's where I'm like, I want, youth to feel this and to start thinking differently and start reacting to, different things in a way that can benefit them. Mm-hmm.
So what's next with you? Mm-hmm. What's next?
So right now I am assisting with an after school program through the sheriff department, and I'm doing life skills workshops. And so I really want to get into like some education, youth. They really are our future. They say our youth, our future. And I see, at school, yes, they're getting all, the academics, but the life part is where they cannot offer it. Yeah. Because, the school year is just full of academics. And so that's where I'm like, I really want to look more into either after school programs or a partnership to be able to offer these type of workshops, or maybe even like an elective at a school. In high school at Inglewood High, I was a peer counselor. Yeah. We had a class that we would meet, and I remember thinking, this is cool. I think that's what we need to bring back
in the schools. I like that.
And having, maybe junior life coaches, teaching them the techniques to teach their peers. And so that's kind of like the big vision I have right now. And so I just, I've been trying to also grow it. So I've taken mindfulness meditation classes to also teach meditation, because that also helped me with my anxiety. Yeah. And also, I love to tell the children, the youth, like, I have anxiety. A lot of people are suffering from anxiety, or maybe now it's just more open to talk about. But I'm like, there are techniques and ways
that you can use.
Yes. And so talking about that, I also took like an art therapy class. So I can teach art classes because I love arts and crafts as well. And so I want to incorporate that, just many, many things to get, I like to say, to build the well-rounded student.
Okay. Wraparound service for the kids.
Wraparound service. Because it's a little bit of everything. A lot of the workshops I do are also, bringing people in, exposing them to different, careers, just facts. I think that's what helped me also grow as a person, is being exposed to different things. That made me feel alive. Yes. And, I've been blessed to be able to travel a lot. I've traveled about 35 countries. And
wow. 35? I haven't even done 5. And no, I don't even think I've been. Yeah, never mind. I think those are states.
And so seeing that truly has made me richer.
Yes,
you
of
know, and
course.
it's made me see so many things.
You get to
and-
see what God created, right?
Yeah, and just how lucky and spoiled we are here.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see it.
Yes,
know?
definitely.
We have
We
everything
Americans
at our
are
disposal.
spoiled for sure.
Yeah. And so I'm like, that's what I want to teach. I want kids to be excited to live. I want them to be excited to explore. And so that's why I try to introduce, new things to them, even foods.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can collaborate
Yes.
maybe we can collaborate for a summer program in Inglewood, with both of our nonprofits, put them together and collaborate for summer programs. Because to be honest with you, parents just want to, not in a bad way, they just want to be like, man, take these kids. So at least we can take them and help them. But before we move on, because I know it's, our, we're almost closing, but I wanted to get your opinion.
Yes.
So this book is called Believing Before Seeing. So you guys go to Instagram and search Believing Before Seeing, Believe into Existence by Candace Barr. I wanted to talk about this last episode, but it was an interesting day, so I kind of forgot. But today I made sure. So you were talking about forgiveness, and I wanted to share this with you so I can get your input on chapter 1. It's called Let Go to Let In. It says, we can't receive awesomeness, or rather, we can't receive it in a way that we can truly learn from if we don't let our old baggage go. So that's the first part. And then it says, people walk around with huge amounts of baggage for a variety of reasons. Unresolved childhood trauma, resentment towards friends or families or coworkers, whoever we feel did something wrong to us. But things, big things or small things, if we're not able to let go, and I mean really let go of things that don't serve us, we can't create space to let goodness in.
Oh, yes.
How you feel about that?
I think that was, they were talking about my life.
I felt the same way. I was like, okay, I think that's both of us.
Yeah, but that goes to show you, like, we're all human and we're all going through something, and none of us are perfect. And but we also need to educate ourselves and not be I don't want to say a victim, but find help, find resources so that you can start healing and being a better version of yourself. I think there's we're lucky right now with social media. I mean, there's a lot of platforms. I mean, not all of them might be, correct, but there's so many resources out there for you to get help. Yes. And I think the thing is, it's not really like you're going to do this and that's it. You're worry free, no more problems. Yeah. Because life is going to keep coming with things. Yes. But if you have those tools, you can use them towards those things. Yeah. It's kind of like you're training. You're training for life. So once you got this down, okay, I got the skills. I know what to do in this, instance. I'm going to practice this. I'm going to do my meditation. I'm going to call my friend that, makes me feel good. Aww. I'm going to watch a movie, that makes me laugh. Yes. Like, you have to have your tools. I always say, create your emergency kit, your mental health emergency kit, because when you're in that mental state, you're not thinking correctly. Yes. You're going to the worst case scenario. And that's why, I always say, start planning your mental health emergency kit, like things you're going to do to kind of get you out of that situation. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's this book, having this book handy.
So we were talking about forgiveness. And so I have like these things highlighted, which was pretty interesting. It says, forgiveness is everything. And then in another part, it says, the only favor you can do for yourself is to forgive and let go. And then it also talks about you can speak to the universe and write down your forgiveness and let go of any ill will or resentment towards them. This will allow the space for goodness. Festering in negative emotions won't make the situation any better. It holds you captive to that pain point. Man. And it says the hardest pill to swallow is that whatever negative action has happened to us has nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's like when I think about this book, I want you guys to go, like I said, to the page of Believing Before Seeing and order a book, because like I said, I got to go through it real quick. Not the whole thing, but like I'm looking for the part where it talks about, like, darn it. Okay, it's not in here. But the different chapters are so inspiring, and it can help you learn more about yourself. It can guide you and make you a better person. So I advise you guys to follow Miss Candace
Yeah.
Barr and order your book today. Um, some half of like we're not even half to the 2024, and some of us can procrastinate. Some of us have goals that we have not completed. Some of us has the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and I believe that this book can take you to the next level.
Awesome.
So I wanted to share that. So
Mhm.
Miss Celina, how can our viewers find you on social media or your website?
So actually, you can find me, Celina Estrada, on LinkedIn. If you want to connect there, you can also find my business on Instagram and Facebook at Cereus Bloom, and my website at www.cereusbloom.com. And Cereus Bloom is spelled Cereus Bloom. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thanks for having me.
Celina, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on Purpose and Passion. And once again, go to YouTube, type in luxemediastudios. I want you to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you so much. Until next time, peace, love, and happiness.